Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, of course, taped live at the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. So not quite the explosive weekend of wrestling activity that we saw last week, and of course, last weekend and last week especially. But on today's episode, we're still going to cover AEW Rampage. We're going to talk about WWE Smackdown. We've got some news about the atmosphere, the culture, if you will, at Titan Towers at the WWE headquarters. Mm-hmm. We've got another update on Sasha Banks' future plans. But first, oh boy, something that apparently is somebody claims is not newsworthy. I think is pretty newsworthy. With all the ongoing backstage drama going on in AEW, one might wonder if EVPs Matt and Nick Jackson, also known as the Young Bucks, might consider jumping over to WWE when their current contracts expire. I mean, right now is as good as any time to speculate about that, given that they're currently on suspension for BTE triggering open the door of CM Punk and then getting into a fracas.
Yeah.
Wrestling Observer's Ryan Frederick reported over the weekend on the Wrestling Observer message board, a hotbed of wrestling news activity, Larson.
Seemingly, yeah.
That the Young Bucks, Generation Me themselves, had sent out feelers to a WWE talent stating this: they didn't sign new deals, their options were picked up. They did reach out to a talent to send feelers that they would be interested in talking about coming in when their deals are up. But everyone on both sides are going to do the same because you want to look for the best deal. Anyone who doesn't do so is dumb and possibly leaving money on the table. They reached out to a talent to send feelers about coming in. I can't say they talked to anyone directly at WWE, but that would fall under tampering, and this came at the same time the legal letters were being sent out about tampering. Can't confirm they actually talked to WWE people themselves, but they talked to other WWE talent about coming in, which they can do. It's not necessarily a sign that they're going to leave. Everyone should do it. In a later post, Frederick added this: in this instance, though, what I said is 100% true, and I have it from multiple people. It's also not a big deal and not really newsworthy. It's not like they actually reached out to WWE management. They told a friend in the company, a fellow wrestler, they'd be willing to listen to offers when their deals are up. He says, I believe in January of 2024. And to let it be known, it's something every single wrestler in the business should be doing. It's called maximizing your leverage. It does not mean they want to leave. It means they're looking to get the best deal they can. That's it. It's a non-story. And if you're a wrestler with a deal coming up the next 18 months and you aren't playing both sides, you need to fix that. And it doesn't matter if it was now or any point in the future before the contracts run out, they're going to reach out. It's inevitable, and why this is a complete non-story, to be honest. And the feeler I was talking about happened before the incidents of this past weekend. For the record, it was a few weeks ago. It's just plain common sense. So that last little qualifier is kind of important in terms of the context of all this. Yes. You know, it's not like, oh, God, you know, all this fracas went down. Now they're looking to ask people about that. Yeah. I get what he's saying in terms of this is a smart move for any wrestler, but don't you think there's a bit of a difference when these guys have their freaking name in the name of the company, All Elite Wrestling? They're there to build something. Yeah. You know, like, and they're reaching out to the competition to see, hey, what better deal can I get?
Yeah, I would understand that definitely, you know, like a month or two before their deal is up. This is like a year and a half before their deal is up, you know?
Yeah.
It seems early. It seems very early because this isn't like a TV deal where you can start negotiating the new deal while the current deal is still happening. Mm-hmm, you know, their contracts have to expire with AEW before they can actively negotiate with anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
And you know, as far as legalities of them calling up one of their friends at WWE and saying, "Hey, would there be interest?" Don't know. Mm-hmm. I imagine if they started the conversation, it was not with WWE official, like. Don't think it'd be tampering, but again, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But yeah, I mean, if Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks, or I think even at this point, Adam Page reached out to WWE, they're, you know, the foundation of AEW, and if any of them were to leave, it'd be a pretty a massive loss for that company. Not to say they don't have talent. They do. They got immensely talented wrestlers over there. But when in the very last Cody, he went to WWE. If for whatever reason, whether it has anything to do with what's going on now or not, Kenny, Young Bucks, Page, any combination of those people went to WWE rather than staying at AEW, the company they founded, that'd be a massive loss for AEW.
It would be, I think, symbolically a lot more of a loss than practically. Like you said,
exactly.
It's a loaded roster. They would be, in my opinion, look, their ratings would be fine with them gone, as long as this didn't become like a mass exodus. But like, given that a lot of these contracts, according to Tony Khan himself, are for like 5 years or something, it's going to be a while before that's possible. And I still think that, Tony Khan, he's got a lot of money. He's got more than Jim Crockett, he said. And I think that he's going to be able to hire his fair share of WWE wrestlers from WWE. I think as long as AEW's in business, they're going to be able to go back and forth. I think that there's going to be a lot of movement on both sides.
Yeah, I think so too.
It is just interesting that the whole idea of, we built this thing, we want to see it through to, it's what's kind of interesting to me is that when you hand your name over to something, All Elite Wrestling, wouldn't you, if you're like savvy, say, okay, well, I'm going to give the brand that we've worked so hard to build, we're going to hand it over to you for these EVP roles. Wouldn't you request some amount of ownership stake there? Like, it's my name. Like, I should be compensated if, we get like a huge TV deal.
Yeah.
Like that's surprising. Maybe it's not surprising because it'd be so out of the realm of what's normal in pro wrestling. Maybe that's the thing. But if you're like, it was a big deal when Cody left, and mainly symbolically. It's like, holy crap, this guy went to build the company with these guys using his name, his celebrity, his stroke in the pro wrestling business. And then he left when things didn't seem all that, to his liking. The fact that the Young Bucks would be reaching out, and somebody here says, maybe they were casually hanging out with Kevin Owens and they said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we worked out? I don't think it's that. Reaching out is not, hey, let's go grab a pizza. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting about this getting out when it got out. It's interesting, and it's not just, I kind of believe that the fracas, the CM Punk thing, seemed to be not a singular occurrence. It seemed to be something that was building to this moment.
Yes.
If everything was cool leading up to this and then he unloaded the media scrum, I'm sure, it would have been more of a, hey, Phil, is everything okay? What's going on?
Be more of a head scratching thing as opposed to we're going to go super kick your locker door down,
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I don't know. I don't know
either. But yeah, the timing of this all coming out is interesting.
Yeah.
But it could be a whole lot of nothing. It could be a whole lot of nothing.
If this was like, if for example, Swerve and Our Glory's contracts were coming up January 2024 and they were reaching out to WWE, or if they were like, Malachi Black's a great example. If his contract was coming up in 2024, it's like, okay, he's not being used a whole lot. Triple H is his guy. He's in charge now. Yeah. This would be a non-thing. This would not be a thing. This is the difference because of the Young Bucks. They're coming off this fracas with CM Punk. So as little as this should be newsworthy, I understand why it is. It makes sense that it is.
Yeah, totally. Because of what, their executives in the company, and as you mentioned, the what it means symbolically. If they were to leave the company that they are executives of and also founded.
And the company is actually named after them.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a bit different.
It is different. Let's move on to this. So we've all heard reports from backstage. The atmosphere. It's better now. Since Stephanie, Nick Khan, Triple H taking over for Vince. But the question is, have WWE employees at Titan Towers seen a similar change in their work atmosphere? By the way, if you go read Glassdoor reviews of WWE, oh wow, seems like a terrible place to work. Or
I did a video. I did a video on that like a year ago at Wrestle Juice, where I looked at Glassdoor reviews, and it was a lot of garbage. I'm kind of curious to see, like, in 6 months, what if it's going to be a little bit different. Given what we're talking about here.
Yeah, given what PW Insider's reporting, because from them the answer is apparently yes, because they're reporting. quote, much like the change the new management team has energized the WWE locker room and the production team, the average energy in WWE headquarters in Stamford has been much better for a very different reason. The balance of employees having a life outside of the company versus their work responsibilities has been much better. Under the current regime, the level of stress is lessened. The belief is that under Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, and Stephanie McMahon, employees have settled into a new groove where they can do their jobs but not feel that level of stress that used to exist, and more importantly, not feel guilty if they leave the office at a normal hour. There's a far better balance of work life versus real life outside of WWE for the employees, at least now. When it comes to the creative team, PW Insider says, quote, there's also been a night and day impact there as well, in large part because under Levesque, they are no longer hurrying up to wait for Vince McMahon meetings that start hours late or focus on small, unimportant things for long periods of time. The meetings are more streamlined and regimented. And there's a feeling that by not wasting so much time, the team has been far less, quote, worn out by the grind. It could focus more on creative pitches and longer form ideas. Where before it was about reacting to Vince McMahon's whims of the moment, there's a feeling that they are building a foundation of being proactive and building for the future. There are rewrites as part of the process, but it's very rarely a situation where everything is nuked and they are racing against the clock. The day of the broadcast come up with new ideas, one of the reasons why endless rematches have disappeared from Raw and SmackDown.
It is night and day. I mean, you can tell with the broadcast, with the TV stuff, it's so different. It really is. And it's somebody, God, I forget who it was. We were watching, we were doing our Dynamite watch along on Wednesday. And there was the Penelope Ford championship contender match.
Yeah, I guess Tony Storm,
Eliminator. Yeah. And somebody in our chat said, why does everybody kick up a fuss? Why does everybody kick up a fuss when WWE does this, but not when AEW does it? Well, if you remember, there was that stretch of time. It was Charlotte Flair versus somebody. And it was like 4 weeks in a row of championship contender, the same match over and over and over again. That's why people were kicking up a fuss about it. Now, if they do it, I don't give a shit because I know that it's going to be a one and done because they're not going to do that endless rematch stuff. I mean, dude, we were hearing stories that like Vince would forget that he would do a match one week, so he would just do the match the next week because he forgot that happened.
Yeah,
this is such an awesome thing to hear about. That the culture there in WWE, contrary to what some people had thought and talked about, is actually changing. That's a nice thing to hear.
It is, especially the work-life balance, because if you're constantly on edge, wait for that phone call at 1, 2 in the morning, especially if you're in creative, and you got to roll over to Vince's house to rewrite his show. That's, I don't know how, like, there's people that have been working on the creative team for years, working under that kind of environment, and I don't know how. I mean, I don't know how they could do that.
Yeah, I know.
It boggles my mind that there's no time for you to relax.
Yeah,
I understand everybody's, wants to do things, and there's a productivity level that I think, people can settle into, but there's got to be balance to that. You got to give yourself opportunities to rest and relax. And if you're working in a situation where Vince is your boss and he never rests or relax, apparently, and the expectation is that you more or less do as he does. Not everybody is wired like him.
Hardly anybody
Very few people are wired like him. So to have that expectation and then to be able to deliver that schedule for years boggles my mind.
Yeah.
Boggles my mind. I don't know how the human body on a regular basis can do that.
The idea of trying to be creative in that environment seems completely counterintuitive.
It really does. It really does.
So that's great. That's great to hear. I wonder how many people that have worked for WWE in the creative departments over the past 10, 15 years, or even like the last 5 years, are like, oh man, I'd love to take another crack at that, because you think, hey, I want to go and in this industry that I love, that I've been a fan of for however many years, and I got a shot at WWE, and I get there and it's like, God damn, nobody could be creative doing this shit. And now I got to deal with Vince and his weird shit. And I wonder how many people will just be like dying to take another shot at that,
Yeah, it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about this. Sasha Banks, a creative person, all sorts of her hands in all sorts of different industries. She appeared on a Star Wars podcast. What is this thing called?
Looks like it'd be
Och 2?
Och 2.
Och 2?
The Star Wars podcast.
All right. Nerds. She's there to talk about The Mandalorian. And she commented on what she's planning to do in the near future. These transcripts come to you via our friends over at Post Wrestling. She says, there's so much that I'm kind of creating right now. It's all under an umbrella. Oh, man. What Mercedes Industries. She says, like I said, I'm an actor, model, writer, producer, extraordinaire, entertainer. So all within those realms. I'm doing something, so you just have to stay tuned. But we have a microphone. That's something big I want to do. Not podcasting, but music. That's probably, she says, I don't know if that's the number one next thing, because acting, there's a lot of things coming up in acting right now, but I'm really starting to focus my mind around music and my music realm and just being kind of a director in the space of creating kind of a musical video piece. Oh, that's cool. Right on.
Yeah. I mean, she's taking this opportunity away from wrestling, seemingly to explore every creative avenue that might interest her.
Fashion. They were at the New York Fashion Week, I think it was.
Yeah, her and Naomi.
Yeah, it's great to see them still doing that shit together, too. Mm-hmm. You know, that's awesome. That's great.
And it was awesome to see that Bailey was there.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's funny. That's awesome. Yeah. That's great.
That was super cool. I mean, if she's got ways that she can get fulfilling work in a variety of creative fields, and she doesn't need wrestling, hell, maybe she'll never come back. Mm-hmm. Don't know.
Yeah.
But
she'll probably come back tonight, dude.
That's entirely possible.
Because here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. What did Orson Welles have to do to fund all those creative endeavors of his? He had to do fish sticks commercials.
He had to do fish sticks and peas
frozen peas commercials.
Yeah.
Frozen peas. This doesn't make any sense. He'd tell the director. So, you know, you get that wrestling money, and then you can go in and pay for that studio time, mm-hmm. and make whatever musical piece she wants to make. I don't know. Or maybe she won't. Fuck, what do I know? I don't know her. It's great. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Do whatever you got to do. Do whatever you want to do, man.
Exactly.
Just get one shot at this life, man.
You sound like Eminem. Lose yourself.
Lose yourself in the music, the moment. Never, ever let it go, Jedediah. It was Eminem's declaration of principles.
Yeah, that's his declaration of principles there. Lose yourself in the moment, in the music, the moment. Never let it go. You only get one shot. Don't miss your chance.
Oh, man. Don't miss your shot. Anyways, let's talk about Smackdown, man. Another fun episode.
It was,
They're keeping up with this Brawling Brutes versus Imperium stuff.
Well, it's cool. They rebranded them as Imperium.
Oh, the Imperium's back. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's great. And you know, it's funny, man. So we did a watch along here at the channel, the Twitch channel, on Friday. And when the Imperium came out, it was like, oh, okay. Friggin', you know, Giovanni Vinci's out there with Imperium now. He's new. He's probably going to eat this pin. No. That's the Vince McMahon way of doing things. This dude got the pin.
The opposite happened. Yeah, he got the
pin.
Win.
He got the big win right here on behalf of Imperium. So we got to see Imperium come back. I'm sure they're probably going to do some sort of Extreme Rules match, because Triple H might look at these two guys and he's like, all right, man, you guys got the rest of 2022 to keep feuding. And I think people will be into it because Sheamus and Gunther have such great chemistry. All these guys have great chemistry.
Yeah, they do. They do. This match was a lot of fun. We saw Solo Sikoa make his SmackDown debut, his first real show as a full member of the Bloodline. The interaction between him and Sammy was interesting. Would Solo kind of side with Jay, not be too cool with Sammy being honorary Uce, or would he side more with Jimmy, who seemingly is pretty cool with it? It's closer to Jimmy, but Solo seemed to be of the mind that, well, Sammy, you're proving your worth. You're taking a lot of shots for us. So thanks. Happy to have you around. Mm-hmm. I would imagine so long as that continues.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
if that were to not continue, guess what?
The honorary tag is probationary.
Yes.
And I think probably in perpetuity at that.
Yes.
So, and eventually his usefulness to the Bloodline is going to run out.
Oh,
and
yes.
And It's going to be the most heartbreaking is when Jimmy finally turns on Sammy. That's going to be the most heartbreaking.
I know.
They got the little handshake and everything. It's great. Let's see here. We had Drew McIntyre and his feud with Karrion Kross really get kicked up a notch at the end of his no DQ match against Solo Sikoa. Karrion Kross ended up wonking that finish by choking the shit out of Drew McIntyre. And so no doubt they're going to take that, I would imagine, to Extreme Rules coming up about a little less than a month from now.
Yeah, and they, from a production standpoint, they handled it fairly nicely.
It was pretty cool.
So they had, as soon as Kross put the choke on, black and white. They desaturated it. And then, so they had the copyright thing as Drew is fading. And rather than just kind of do the usual fast fade out, they did a slow fade.
Yeah.
You know, as in to say, Drew is, like, we as an audience member are fading out as Drew is fading from consciousness.
What the fuck? Like Triple H has the Criterion Collection all loaded
I
up,
guess
man?
so.
What's going
I guess
on
so.
here?
We still had some arena audio going on as he was fading out, as the scene was fading out.
We are Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Like, what better fucking way to say, hey, hey, audience, this is who you're relating to now. Karrion Kross, you know, he can represent any number of things. Time, obviously, number one.
Yes.
It gets everybody.
Well, they said that he was rewriting the timeline. That's what they said.
Right. That's deep shit. That's cool, man. That's really cool.
I mean, in one sense, and you get it in terms of him getting a do-over on his main roster run.
Yeah.
But yeah, also the idea that there might be something a little bit more at play is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, Liquid IV. I know he's mentioned it several times here on the show, but Steve and I play basketball once a week, and I got to tell you, going out and shooting some hoops on a weekly basis has been great for my mood and my energy levels. Plus, it gives us the chance to see each other in person, which is always nice.
Oh, it's so nice. Exactly. But I'll tell you one thing that's less than ideal about our weekly hoops games, especially when it's so hot outside. Sweating so much and getting dehydrated. My day is completely shot if I get dehydrated because I get this nasty dehydration headache and I'm just completely and totally useless. But since we've been using Liquid IV after and during our basketball games, I've said goodbye to those headaches.
Yeah, Liquid IV has become a huge part of my basketball routine as well. I'll drink some during and after our games, and I've noticed that I'm able to maintain my energy levels while we play, and I'm not as sore afterwards. See? Liquid IV is designed to enhance rapid absorption of water and other key ingredients into your bloodstream. One packet of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. It contains 5 essential vitamins: B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C.
So grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco or get 15% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 15% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. We had Braun Strowman, the force of nature, showing up again on SmackDown this time around. It's not like he didn't... Did he get on the mic? No, he just came to destroy stuff. It was kind of cool. He
didn't do a little interview backstage or anything?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Although we should talk a little bit about this. So the Max Male Models and Los Lotharios took on Hit Row and Street Profits. Hit Row got the win, but whatever. Later on, there was a digital exclusive where LA Knight was teasing a return. Of course, he's Max Dupree now with Max Male Models, and he was trying to pep up his guys, and he said, sometimes... the day, what is that phrase? What did he use again?
He says sometimes you gotta get through the day to get to the night.
Yeah.
Well, he just said, yeah.
He did. Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. Because here's the thing, you know that it's not just a tease. They're going to tease, and it's just him doing it, and they're going to move on, and you're never going to get LA Knight.
Oh, LA Knight's coming back.
Seems like LA Knight's coming back, baby. Yeah.
LA Knight.
LA Knight, yeah. So let's dive into this here. We had it kicked off with the Brawling Brutes versus Imperium. I mean, dude, this match went through several commercial breaks, and it was just violence. It was just
beating the hell out of each other. Just beating the hell
out of each other. In the end, Imperium, it was Vinci and Ludwig they do their old Imperium tag team finish to get the win here on was it Ridge? It was probably it was Ridge. Ridge eats those pins for Brawling Brutes. Yeah. That's gonna happen. Ridge is still really like this dude needs to get a lot of reps in still.
He does.
He's very awkward in the ring.
And Butch getting a little bit closer to Pete Dunne. He did the pose up on the ramp.
Yeah.
Bit by bit, we're getting there. Maybe at some point when he eventually splits from Brawling Brutes. Pete Dunne will be back. Give us Peter Dunne.
You know, it'd be cool, man. I know because they're going to take this to Extreme Rules, and maybe the idea is this will end up being a Survivor Series type match, like an elimination thing, maybe for the blow off. But it'd be kind of nice if sometime during this, these guys can pair off. You know, we've already seen Butch versus Ludwig. What if we get Butch versus Gunther? And in the build to that, like the week before the actual match, what if they make it a big deal? Hey, these guys are both former UK champions. They've had classic matches. What if in the build to that match, which is one stop along the way, he gets his name back and he says, "You know what? I'm more than just Butch. I'm Pete Dunne." But he still uses Butch as the name, but it's acknowledged that, hey, I'm a dude. I'm a guy. I'm a real person.
He's got to channel the bruiserweight if he's going to take on Gunther.
Yeah. That'd be cool. And then you could change to Butch Dunne or Pete Butch Dunne or whatever. You know, you can keep a little bit of both, and then eventually just fucking forget about Butch.
Peter Butch Dunne. Yes.
Yeah, and then he's just Pete Dunne.
Just fade. Just get Butch out of there. Just slowly fade away.
I would like them to keep aspects of Butch's character though. That sense of urgency he has, that sort of like he sort of loses it a little bit in the ring. You know, he's like yanking on somebody's fingers and looking at the ref to see what the ref does about it. There is much more of a sense of urgency about the Butch character that I kind of dig. I like it. I've grown used to it.
Yeah. Then we get the Usos and Sammy for a promo. Sammy tells the crowd to throw their ones up. Asks Jimmy if he's feeling it. Jimmy is. He turns to Jay. Jay is completely stone-faced. So Sammy says they have to do some. Says they do have some serious things to talk about as a young honorary Us. And Jay, while trying to hold back a laugh, interrupts and says, "I got this." He says Roman's still undisputed champ. The Clash. He beat Drew on his own turf. Little does Drew know how deep this bloodline runs. Sammy says it's deep AF. And then Jimmy introduces Solo Sikoa. So as Solo's making his way to the ring, there's a video package. Thank you, Cultaholic, for the raid. Thank you so much. Talking about Smackdown on Friday. We get a video package showcasing what Solo has done in NXT. So he comes to the ring. He asks, Sammy asks him for a hug. Solo just gives him a head nod instead and says, "If you come for our family, I'm going to come for you. You create problems, I'm going to finish them." He says, "I'm here to stay," and the bloodline just got bigger and stronger. Jay says, because you're all the twos, they're the ones. They all raise up their ones. Drew's music hits. He comes to the ring with a chair. Usos and Sammy, they get out of there. Solo, he stands there. He actually makes his way forward towards the ropes as Drew is about to get in the ring, so Drew hits him in the gut with the chair. He's about to take a swing at Solo. Sammy pushes Solo out of the way. He eats that chair shot. And Drew, this was all on mic, but I love it when they do this kind of stuff. So the camera audio has picked up Drew saying, "Solo, I want you tonight." And the bloodline make their way up to the ramp, and Solo says, "You got it.
You got it. You got it." After that, we had Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah versus Toxic Attraction. Toxic Attraction have a promo. It says we're there to shatter the reality of Raquel and Aaliyah. I wonder if this is just, a little bit more Toxic Attraction. They've been seemingly on main roster more than they've been on NXT. Well, I guess they had a match on NXT last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if this is going to be like a call-up thing or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So anyways, of course, this is kind of a standard match. They even did like that same finish they usually do where like Raquel has both of them, or both, like the other two, like Toxic Attraction has Raquel Rodriguez, and then Aaliyah spears one of them, allows Raquel Rodriguez to hit her big move, the Tahana Bomb.
That's another match where Aaliyah is isolated and taken out of the match. Raquel
gets the
hot tag, dominates for a bit. Eventually leads to the win. Then we got this is elimination 5-way match, right?
Yes.
Yeah, elimination 5-way match
was,
determined Liv Morgan's next contender for Extreme Rules. He had Xia Li taking on Sonya Deville, taking on Natalya versus Lacey Evans and Ronda Rousey. So Liv is watching the match from a luxury suite, a skybox. So the first elimination sees, Natalya has Xia Li at a sharpshooter. Lacey Evans breaks that up with the woman's right on Natalya. Then Sonya hits Lacey with a Shining Wizard. Ronda throws Sonya out of the ring into the barricade. She puts the arm bar on Natalya. Natalya taps. She's eliminated. And then Ronda and Sonya put on submissions on Lacey and Xia respectively. They both tap, so they're both eliminated. So the final two is Ronda and Sonya. So Ronda's looking for Piper's Pit. Sonya reverses that into a sleeper. Ronda has to roll to the floor to break it up. And she has to break it up by ramming Sonya into the barricade. Back of the ring hits Piper's Pit, teases armbar, but instead puts on the ankle lock, and Sonya taps to get the win.
I like that they gave Sonya a good spot here with Ronda. They didn't have her like tap out immediately or anything like that. This is kind of interesting because Liv was showing a little, she's showing a little attitude these days, and I don't know if they're gonna try to build her up as kind of a heel character, like a little snarkier, because Ronda's clearly the good guy here. I mean, she's getting really good crowd reaction. She had an interview recently where she talked about she enjoyed being away from the title scene, and I think that is really helping her. Yeah, she had a segment later on with Shayna where she talked about, hey, when you want to start wrecking the women's division with you and I on top, let me know. Do you think there's any chance that Liv's going to sort of chicken shit heel her out of losing the title to Ronda? And maybe Ronda and Shayna instead will feud with, I don't know, like either Dakota Kai and Io Sky if they get the titles, or even Sasha and Naomi when they return.
It's entirely possible.
That's a top level couple names there to be feuding for the women's tag titles. If they want to really sort of, satisfy Sasha Banks, make those tag titles a big deal. Those are some big names there in that division.
There's some seriously major names there. Ronda gets the win, faces. I was kind of surprised they'd have Ronda live at Extreme Rules. I would have thought they would have saved that for the next major show, but
yeah, I mean maybe they'll. Because wait, is this announced for SmackDown soon?
No, that's not the Ronda versus Liv is Extreme Rules.
I'm sorry. I thought you just said I'm surprised they didn't save that for Extreme Rules.
No, I'm surprised they did. They are doing this match for Extreme Rules rather than waiting for Survivor Series or
like a bigger
or the next Saudi show or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, again, Extreme Rules. If they do it like an actual Extreme Rules match, that gives Liv Morgan all the leeway to do whatever she needs to do. That'll be. I mean, in terms of her keeping her title, that's probably the smart move because Anyways, after that we had backstage more Bloodline. The Usos are trying to hype up Solo Sikoa backstage because he's got that match tonight against Drew, and Solo just sort of glares at Sammy. And of course, Jay is thinking, you can just read Jay's face. He's like, oh, Solo's not going to like him. He says, Roman said you were the man. Takes a beat, and Sammy thinks he's going to be like, nah, you're not the dude. But he says, he was right. I appreciate what you did out there. And Jay is not happy.
No.
So Sammy says, of course he goes overboard again. Roman knows what he's talking about. And then Jay interjects. He's like, all right, shut up. He says, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about Solo. And Sammy tells Solo, we're all looking out for you. And Solo says, nah, man, I need to do this myself. But if I do need anybody, Sammy's like, I got you. And Jay's like, no, it's not you. We all are going ringside.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
It was good. So then Ronda, as you mentioned earlier, is walking backstage. So Shayna steps up, congratulates her, says good luck against Liv. And Ronda says, I can tell you're upset about losing at Clash at the Castle. You know what's better than winning? Revenge.
And then she says, let me know when you want to run this place with me.
Yeah.
After that, we have Maximil Models and the Los Lotharios versus Hit Row and the Street Profits in 8-man action.
Yeah.
And this was, again, this is basically, it's like a showcase for Maximil Models to be completely stupid. It's fucking hilarious, though.
It's pretty damn funny.
The fact that Massey just keeps that same sort of dull look on his face the entire time. Mm-hmm. His mouth is like a little bit open. The entire time. It's wildly hilarious.
It's pretty awesome. Hit Row get the win here with their finish. We get a Braun returns video package. And they highlighted in this a lot of the times where he was just destroying stuff. So that's my expectation.
I think they're just going to, show us for maybe a couple months that this dude's just a force of nature. And then they'll just feed him to Roman, and we'll get to revisit a little bit of the fun we had in 2017.
But I'm not finished with you yet, yeah.
I'm not finished with you. Yeah. So Chad Gable comes out, and he says they're in Seattle. He says, it's your lucky night, Seattle. We're back on SmackDown, where we got our start. He says, we haven't been gone that long. When you're in the presence of the Academy, because, they're all starting to boo him. He says, you do one thing, sheesh. He says, the reason we're here tonight is to ruin Braun's return to SmackDown, just like Braun ruined our shot at the tag titles. A match we had won until Braun jumped us from behind. He says, if Otis, my number one guy, had seen Braun coming, he would have left him laying. He says, Otis, much like myself, is a superior athlete. He says, here in Seattle, you don't know anything about superior athletes because Seattle's the type of city that can't hold on to their own basketball team, and they are still salty about the Supersonics.
Yep.
So Gable says, let me show you how I turned Otis into the true monster. And then he's interrupted by Braun. Red Pants Braun comes to the ring, hits Otis. Gable tries to attack. Braun boots him. Otis hits Braun, hits a corner splash. He charges Braun, eats a shoulder tackle. Gable eats a clothesline. And then he gets hit with a huge power bomb. And then Braun power bombs the shit out of Otis, and it looked like it was completely easy to do.
Yeah. The power bomb to Gable was completely effortless for Braun.
Yeah.
Completely.
Even the Otis one he made look pretty easy, though. It was so fucking impressive, though.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and Braun got a new theme, too.
Yeah. So we got a Drew McIntyre interview. He says Clash of the Champions should have been the biggest moment of his life. 21 years of giving everything to this industry. He should be staying their champ, but he's not for one reason, and that's Solo Sikoa. He says, Solo, I'm sure Roman is happy with you, but your actions have consequences. He did this like kind of all whispery because he was intense. So he says, but actions have consequences. It's almost like Seth Bullock, almost kind of gritting his teeth and talking. Actions have consequences. And I promise, Solo, you're not going to like the consequences of your actions.
Yeah. After that, we had Drew McIntyre. We had our main event, Drew McIntyre versus Solo Sikoa, no DQ match.
Actually, it wasn't no DQ because the finish ended in a DQ.
So it was advertised as a no DQ.
It was rumored to be no DQ. It actually wasn't advertised in advance of the show.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah. Well, that's a good point. The whole time I thought this is no DQ because it was rumored to have been that. But, yeah, you're right, huh? Anyways, yeah. So Solo was really holding his own here. In the end, though, let's see here. Drew escapes a Samoa drop, hits a Claymore. Solo, though, tumbles out of the ring, keeping him looking strong. And then before Drew could go get him, Cross hits the ring, puts Drew in a cross jacket. Drew tries to power up. He fades out. Cross tightens his grip. And then we get, like you said earlier, that slow fade as the show ends. It was really, really visually well done.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Friday night, we also had a Rampage. We had a match in this Champions Tournament to crown a new AEW champion between Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara. We had Miro have to drop a promo to explain why he won't be feuding with Malachi Black anymore. And then a really fun main event between Dax Harwood and Claudio for that Ring of Honor title. I mean, actually, I thought that basically every segment was pretty solid. The Jade Cargill interview was good. I thought Powerhouse Hobbs promo or interview was really good.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought that was good.
Samoa Joe set up his next feud. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was fine.
An eventful Rampage.
I mean, Rampage will always give you one match that you can really be like, oh shit, this is, really, like, who's not going to want to watch Claudio versus Dax Harwood? That fucking match was awesome. Then even the first match, Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara, you could see them wrestle, all the time. Yeah, it had like the distraction fucking, well, like the finish here was what? Oh yeah, Anna Jay came to ringside.
Yeah, distract, yeah.
And then Ty put Darby's skateboard in the ring, grabs Darby's ankle so he couldn't do shit. Sammy powerbombs Darby onto the skateboard.
Yeah, that was rough.
It looked rough. Like it didn't, because he didn't actually hit the trucks of the skateboard. It was like right next to it. But in theory, it was rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he followed up with his finish to get the win on Darby. So it was a cheat win. But no, that was good stuff. So Sammy goes on to face
Mox.
Is it Mox? Oh God. Ooh, yeah. Mox ain't gonna deal with any of that shit.
No, Mox should utterly destroy him. This match was kind of short though. This was only like a 12-minute match.
Sammy's gonna spike himself on that.
Oh yeah, several times.
multiple
several
paradigm
times.
shifts.
Several times. Yeah.
Death right.
It should be a solid bout though. I would think it's going to happen on Dynamite. I think that's what they said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So that was good. That was a good match.
It was. So anyways, yeah, that was the opening bout. After that, Samoa Joe came out for a promo, says it's good to be back. I've been away from a bit, and I apologize. I owe you much more violence in the future. And I'm here to say I'm in the house. I'm open for business. And then Mark Sterling comes to the ramp with Tony Nese and Josh Woods. Says, we've never closed. And while you were in Hollywood getting pampered, we were grinding week after week. He says Tony Nese has more abs than Joe has had matches in the company. And Josh Woods lists off, he's a former Pure champion, all sorts of accolades. And he says, on Dynamite, Josh Woods saved my life, so he deserves and should be awarded a shot at the Ring of Honor title, TV title. And Joe says, it's rare someone comes and interrupts me, and I agree with everything they say. Says Josh Woods is an incredible athlete and has been grinding to prove himself. Woods should get everything he asked for. He should get a shot at this title. And that's going to happen tonight, right now. And then Woods, he's ready to go to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He puts his mouthpiece in. He's on his way to the ring. And Sterling's like, nope, we're not going to do it this week. We're going to do it next week in a better town in Albany.
Yeah. I think that's where Rampage sort of went off for me because I can't stand anything Mark Sterling does. As soon as he shows up, I'm just like, this is a waste of fucking time. And it's like Samoa Joe. It's like, I know he's like the Ring of Honor guy, but it's like, it's Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Like, he should be in the tournaments to have the world
agreed.
title at AEW.
Agreed.
You have Samoa Joe. And maybe, I don't know, look, again, maybe I'm speculating as to why it's so asinine to relegate him to this stuff. But maybe because he wants to do the Hollywood stuff, they're like, okay, well, if you want to do that, we can have you on a super part-time thing where you're Ring of Honor guy until we figure out the Ring of Honor weekly so you don't have to be here all the time.
Yeah, that could be.
And if that's the case, then that's their business decision to make. That's fine. But I'm just saying, if that's not the case, and it's like, we have Samoa Joe, and we're going to have him here every once in a while. He's going to feud with Josh Woods. No, he should be trying to, like, I don't know, dismantle the Blackpool Combat Club for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have him feud with those guys.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I get it. After that, we had a Miro promo. He says, my God, you took the devil out before I could. Snuck him out before I snuffed him out. He says, when you began this war, I thought you had a master plan, but now I'm heartbroken to find out that you don't. You're a fraud, aren't you? You made it clear that I am not your favorite champion, delight in keeping me away from my wife, and my gold hangs around the waist of lesser men. Why? How can a man who sees everything be so blind to everything? And now another tournament is out there, and where am I? I am the right choice because I am flawless. So admit that you have failed and belt the Redeemer now.
So seemingly, he still wants gold.
Yeah.
There's a lot of titles in AEW. Larson, which one should he go after?
I mean, he should go after the top title because Miro's the best.
Okay, but if the idea is any title's good enough.
I mean, he says, my title hangs around the waist of lesser men. He's referring to the TNT title. Mm-hmm. I don't see Wardlow losing that anytime soon, though.
Should he perhaps focus on, I don't know, Pac he's like double champion now.
Yeah, he can lose the All-Atlantic title to Miro. They should put that belt on Miro to begin with.
They should have. I'm pretty sure we all had channel points on it.
We did.
I'm pretty sure that was the case. And I think, I kind of think, like, I don't know, if I'm in AEW, I kind of like that All-Atlantic title because it doesn't have like a TV network logo on it. Mm-hmm. So I'm down with the All-Atlantic title, man.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Then we had Madison Rayne versus Serena Deeb. A decent match. I just felt like it was a little short. I kind of felt like all the matches were a little short, save for the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Deeb gets the win here. She smashes Madison Rayne's knee into the mat, locks on Serenity Lock. Madison has to tap.
Yup. After that, we had a Jade Cargill interview. She says, I don't know why the fans are surprised that I whooped Athena's ass. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. Athena thought she was going to come in here and do something, and she did nothing. So whichever woman wants to get it, I got it. I'm giving out work. Come apply.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. Then we got a Powerhouse Hobbs interview. Says it seems like the world loves to doubt Powerhouse Hobbs. And I'm a believer that if you want something done, you get it done yourself. And QT and the factory couldn't get the job done, so I went to All Out and put Ricky Starks 6 feet deep. And now I get to open up the book of Hobbs, and I get to show the world why I'm a killer. I'm that beast from Oakland, California, the Monstar, Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, man. Find out what's in that book. And then we had Dax, the pre-match Dax Claudio interview. And Regal says, I hired you, Dax, about 13 years ago out of obscurity. And I know how excellent you are in that ring. But I have the ultimate competitor on my side. Claudio says, Dax, you have my respect. I know that the type of year you're having, and that's the kind of competitor I want to stand in the ring with me. He says, I'm sure you're going to win singles titles, but not tonight and not this one. And then Dax interrupts, says, hey, I know the odds of this match. I know I'm the underdog. Most people watching at home are sure I'm going to lose tonight, and rightly so. Because you're one hell of a wrestler, and it doesn't make any sense. I'm a tag team guy. Why am I going to get the Ring of Honor? That wouldn't make any sense. Who would book that? And then he says, Regal, you pulled me out of obscurity. That's a place I'm not going to go because this is how I feed my family. He says, tonight I'm going to be the Ring of Honor World Champion. But they're not going to book that because it don't make any sense. So why? Yeah. But this is a good match. Everybody wants to see us wrestle because I'm a really good wrestler. I'm just not. I'm a tag guy.
Tag guy, yeah. Until he gets that huge singles win, then he could be a singles guy. But that wasn't Friday night because Claudio won.
Right, we're not gonna do it here on Rampage. That'd be weird.
That would be weird.
Do a Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Yeah. Eventually, it was a really fun match. Claudio put Dax in the sharpshooter a couple times. Dax actually escaped one and put a sharpshooter on Claudio, but Claudio escapes that, hits a bunch of elbows. Sharpshooter, Dax has to tap.
Yup, absolutely. We got a Raw tonight. J-Mart's going to be there. He's going to be at Raw.
Oh, that's very cool.
So
have fun, J-Mart.
Hopefully he's still watching, or maybe he's listening to this later on. I don't know. We're going to give him his personalized Raw preview.
There we go.
So here's up number 1, J-Mart. You listening? Emotions are going to run high as Edge takes on Dominic Mysterio from The Judgment Day.
From Judgment Day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah to face first test as champions against Dakota Kai and Io Sky.
Oof. Wait, they're going to face their first test as champions, so they're just burying everybody they've already faced.
I think that was a non-title match.
Well, I know, but
this is their first title defense, and I think that's what they're saying.
Okay, so it's their first test as champions.
Yeah. So
they're just equating tests, so the other ones, they were just warm-up quizzes.
I think that's essentially what they're saying, yes.
All right. Also, John Wrestling.
Johnny
Wrestling. Johnny Gargano. John is going to make his in-ring return.
Yeah, that'd be good. Wonder who's going to wrestle.
I don't know. Who's number 1 on your list? Who would you want to see if Triple H calls you up and says, "Hey, Larson, here's the thing. This is usually the time of the day when I have to sack up and call the enforcer, but I'm so sick of it. So can you just let me know who to book on Raw against John?"
You mentioned a couple good names: Mustafa Ali,
Cedric
Alexander.
What about T-Bar?
That'd be great too.
Any
T-Bar
of the main event players.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Did T-Bar, did Dijak and Gargano ever have a match in NXT? I don't remember.
We'll find out right now on Cage Match.
There you go.
Johnny Gargano versus Dijak.
Dominic Dijakovic.
Let's see here. NXT, May 6, 2020.
They did then. Okay.
That was a empty arena era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, question and answer. Probably fucking good match, too.
It probably was really good.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Over at Friendo Club TV, right now we've got the latest episode of W Steve W. Bret Hitman Hart takes on, in a grudge match, Bill Cena. It's actually Bill Goldberg from a different dimension where he took the John Cena character and made it his own. So that's fascinating stuff over at W Steve W. WWE 2K22 in action.
Interesting.
And then tonight over at MF Steve here, myself and the Enforcer, this Twitch channel, MF Steve here, we're going to be doing a Raw watch along, so join us for that. That's cool. And then either later on today or tomorrow, Friendo Club TV will be answering your questions in our standard Ask Steve and Larson QA section. It's a video thing. So check that out. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.